Today's feast, the Feast of the Epiphany, is a feast that really started in the Eastern Christian tradition. It came to the Western Church actually after the tradition of Christmas arose in the Western Church, and the two traditions were blended together. In the Eastern Church, they saw the Magi as the presentation or the manifestation of Christ to the Gentile world, to the world at large. That and Christ's baptism, which is celebrated on the octave of the Epiphany next week, was the beginning of the march towards the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ. The Eastern Church, they weren't that much concerned with the Jewish traditions, the Davidic line. They were concerned only that God had come among man and was present to them. And as we know, the East versus West, that tradition has not always been easy through the history of the church, and different councils have tried to resolve it, but still there remains a certain division between the two, a lot of fighting over words and phrases, but basically both traditions, Eastern Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, and the Western Christian tradition, all are centered on Emmanuel, God with us. That is the important thing, that Christ has become man. God became man to be with us, to bring us to march with him, and to share our lives with one another so that we will have eternal life. All of us are called on Christmas, or on this day, which in the Eastern Church is their Christmas, to pay homage to this child. Like the three Magi, we're called to bring our gifts to the child. Our gifts are the gift really that Jesus asks us to do, and that is to give. As Jesus came to the world, we ourselves present him to the world. All of us need to seek Christ, and we see Christ in each other. We bring Christ to the homeless, to those who are hungry. We do this by feeding them, by helping them find shelter, by fulfilling needs that people have. Giving of ourselves is so important. It is what Christ did. And when he gave, he asked only one thing. And mostly he gave a healing, he gave forgiveness, and he only asked, sin no more. And so it is when we give. We should do it without strings. We do it freely. We do it so that a person can find Christ. We have to leave them free to find him in the way that Christ leads them to him. Sometimes it is hard to give and not know the result. But the results are in the mind of God, in the heart of God, in the heart of the person to whom we give. Remember, Christ said, "Give to the least of my brothers. If you give to them, you give it to me." That is where our joy is, that we give it to Christ, and that we should be happy in giving, and that is the reward that we receive.